Hello, Room 10. Here is another teaching installment that will hopefully help you with our next skill, which is comparing fractions. You'll be seeing some problems on your homework in Chapter 18, and I thought I'd do some examples to help you. Now, the easiest way to compare fractions depends on what you're comfortable with. For this very first problem, you can see the denominators are the same. So we're dealing with the same size pieces, and all you really have to do is compare the numerator. These are 3/4 versus 1/4. The fourths mean the pieces are all the same size. So the fraction that has the most number of pieces is the largest. Now this is a little bit easier because the denominators are the same. As you can see down here, I've written two strategies that would help you for problems that are different than this first one, where you can see in some of these other examples the denominators are different. Now you can use some logic for some of these problems, but some of them you might need another strategy or two to figure it out. Let's take this problem here for example. 5/10 versus 2/4. Now I know fourths are a larger piece. That's just an object cut into 4 pieces, whereas this would be the same size object cut into 10 pieces. So those pieces are going to be smaller. But there are 5 of them versus 2 pieces here. So it's difficult for me to try to envision which one might be the greater fraction. So I might need some strategies to help. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try to create a common denominator. Find an equal fraction for both of these that has the same denominator. A very simple way to do this is just to multiply the denominators. If I multiply 10 times 4, I'll get 40. And since I multiply the bottom or the denominator by 4, if I multiply the top by 4, I'll get 20/40. Now to make this the common denominator also, I need to multiply 4 by 10 to get 40. And as we learned in equal fractions, if you multiply the denominator by one number, you need to multiply the numerator as well. So if I multiply 2 by 10, I get 20 as well. And you can see 20/40 is the same as 20/40. So therefore 5/10 is the same as 2/4. Now some of you might have realized that 5 is half of 10 and 2 is half of 4 and probably knew the answer before that. So you're one step ahead of the game. Now in this problem I'd like you to use a little bit of logic here. I can't read this very well, but that's a 3. 3/9 versus 3/10. In this example the numerators are the same. So it's the same number of pieces we're counting. However, this is cut into 9 pieces, whereas this is cut into 10 pieces. I know if I have the same size object and I cut it into 10 pieces, the pieces are going to be smaller, so versus those cut into 9 pieces. So in this case, I shouldn't have to do anything else to check because I know that ninths are larger pieces than tenths. So that's one way logic might help you. On this next problem, I want to show you a very cool strategy called cross multiply. What cross multiplying does is you start with your denominators always, and what you do is you multiply the opposite numerator. 6 times 4 is 24, and you put that number up above. Then you take the denominator here, which is an 8, and you multiply it times the opposite fraction's numerator. 8 times 3 is 24. Whichever fraction has the larger number above it is the greater fraction. In this case, you can see they both have 24, so the answer is equal. Let's try that same strategy here. We start with 8, and we multiply by the numerator in the other problem, which is 48. We take 16, multiply by 3, and we also get 48. So you can see this is a greater fraction, or excuse me, this is an equal fraction here. Now, I could have also done a common denominator for this problem too. Just want to show you this other strategy. I could have turned 3/8 into 16ths. I know 8 times 2 is 16, so 3 times 2 is 6, and you'll see these are both the same here. For this problem, I could have done common denominators. I could have multiplied the denominators. 6 times 8 is 48. I had to multiply this 6 times 8. This 3 times 8 makes 24. If I multiply this 8 times 6, I get 48, which means I have to multiply the numerator by 6, which gets 24. What you'll notice is when you do the cross-multiply strategy, it's basically telling you what the numerator is of your equal fractions. These strategies hopefully will help you with this week's homework. I would suggest finding common denominators, which is just equal fractions or equivalent fractions, or using cross multiplication. Good luck.